how to follow up with someone. Like me, I'm sure you've been there. You think you've made great progress with a customer, but then they go quiet on you. They avoid your calls and ignore your emails. What now? Strangely, I've struggled to find any decent peer-reviewed research on the topic of how best to follow up. So what follows is based on my experience as both a business owner and someone who coaches other business owners on how to engage and influence customer behaviour. Hi, I'm Bri Williams, the Behaviour Changer. In this video, I'm going to share why they go quiet, how to manage the 3 phases of motivation, how to avoid peter outs, and my top 3 do's and don'ts when it comes to following up. So if you want to avoid getting ghosted, just do this. Why they go quiet. To take some of the sting out of the tail of being ignored, it might help to realize that the person you had a great initial exchange with is not the same person as the one who is ghosting you. There's some shape-shifting going on, and here is why. When you're meeting with them, they are in a hot state, meaning they are engaged in what you are sharing. The possibilities are enticing. Nothing seems impossible. Once they leave the meeting, this hot state starts to cool and cool and cool. Fair enough too, life is busy after all, but it's not only that. They cool because the effort shifts from you developing a proposal to them making a decision about it, managing their motivation. Once you've shared your ideas on how you could work together, effort shifts from your shoulders to theirs. Welcome to Slumpland. We can use Stanford Professor BJ Fogg's motivation wave to guide our approach here because it typically looks a little like this. There are 3 phases. It's possible, it's difficult, and it's happening. Phase 1, it's possible. Let's call the pitch phase 1. This is when you outline how you'd go about solving whatever problem they have. Their motivation is typically high because at this stage everything seems possible because it's largely conceptual. But by the end of that meeting, there's a shift. We're moving from great in concept to concrete reality. Phase 2, it's difficult. Following your pitch, your client will be confronted with the reality of needing to get their stakeholders on board, like their boss or their team or their peers. Plus, they'll have to get budget approval and work out the logistics and procurement processes, all on top of their usual work. This is Slumpland, where motivation slips away. Rather than everything feeling possible, now everything feels difficult. This is the key danger zone because it can lead to a peter out. Your client will need a fair degree of tenacity and perseverance to steer your project towards approval. We'll talk about how to manage Slumpland in a moment. Phase 3, it's happening. If we're able to survive Slumpland and avoid a peter out, motivation spikes again. They have good news to share with you. We're going ahead. Knowing about these fluctuating motivation cycles means we can better prepare to support our client through them. So let's delve into Slumpland. How to manage Slumpland. You know the movie Apollo 13 where things went wrong and the team on the ground had to think creatively to get the astronauts safely back to Earth? That's kind of what we're doing here, trying to maintain contact and help our client as they travel around the dark side of the moon. Here are 4 Slumpland scenarios and how to tackle each, along with my 3 top do's and don'ts when it comes to follow-up. Scenario 1, breadcrumbs. In an ideal scenario, you want to do 2 things. Number 1, leave breadcrumbs at the proposal stage to make maintaining open communication easy. In other words, reasons for them to come back to you and you to them. And number 2, help them anticipate things getting hard. This is important because they're likely to be overly optimistic about how easy it will be. But remember, they're high on everything's possible right now. Here are some questions and suggestions to raise in that meeting. Where to from here? And what process do you need to follow? This helps them define for themselves what they'll need to do and make a commitment to do it. Show you are there to make their life easier by saying, what can I do to help? Or even better, if I do X, will that help? For example, other clients have told me it's helped when we've set up a 30-minute recap or I've recorded a short intro to share with stakeholders. Would that work for you? And guide them to summarise what you're proposing so it's easy to talk to their colleagues about it. A one-sentence pitch using an analogy like it's the Uber of XYZ industry is remarkably helpful. For example, the Lion King was Bambi in Africa and Alien was Jaws from space. Ask your client, if you were to nutshell it, what project have you worked on that this is most like? Then confirm how and when they want to be contacted. For example, if I schedule our next discussion for a month's time, does that sound about right to you? And further, so we can keep on track and I can help troubleshoot any issues that pop up, how are we best to keep the lines of communication open? Pause here and let them tell you how to best communicate. If they don't know, prompt them with your preferred approach. For example, so we can keep momentum going, how about I call you for a quick status update every couple of weeks? Scenario 2, relationship resuscitation. In relationship resuscitation, the relationship you were building has stalled. Your client has gone quiet because they're probably daunted by next steps and may even feel out of their depth. It's easier for them to let it peter out than push for it to happen. While you want them to re-engage, your objective is actually to get them to pass you on to the right decision maker. To restart things, you'll therefore want to do two things. Number one, avoid any sense of pressure that will cause them to continue to avoid you. And number two, make it feel like an easy thing to say yes to. Here's what you can say, either in a phone call or email. A few things have changed at our end or in the industry that may have an impact on what we discussed. So I'm keen to get you across the details. Are you available next week with suggested times? By externalizing the reason for the meeting, it's not about them, it's about you or the industry. You should be able to pique their curiosity without piquing their defensiveness. Once you're reconnected, you can then shift the discussion to your project and identifying the person with decision-making authority. Scenario 3, leave it with me. In the leave it with me scenario, the client promises you they will take it from here. If you then explicitly follow them up to ask about the proposal, you risk them getting annoyed because you're not giving them the space they asked for. Our strategy is therefore to gently stay top of mind and accessible. For example, I was thinking of you and thought this article or clip or research or book might be interesting. But you can also push to gain a commitment from them about what leave it to me means. For example, so I can manage my own expectations and those of my team, what's a realistic time frame for you to come back to me? And how about I put a progress check in our diaries for 2 weeks' time? Scenario 4, pitch black. In the pitch black scenario, you've left the proposal with them but heard nothing. You haven't included any breadcrumbs, so the trail has gone cold. Your clients probably become distracted by other priorities, and rather than say no, they're letting it rot on the metaphorical shelf. Here's what you might say in an email or even a LinkedIn message. Hi Joe, sorry I haven't been in touch more. Things got a bit busy. I'm still keen to help your team X. If you're still interested, let me know where things sit at your end. We can reconvene and I'll take others through what we've discussed if that helps. Now let's pull these 4 sentences apart and I'll explain why this is the wording I use. Sentence 1, sorry I haven't been in touch more, things got a little busy. Starting with an apology disarms them. I'm saying I'm at fault, not them, so there's no need to be defensive. By the way, normally I would recommend we not use the word sorry and instead thank them for their patience so they feel less aggrieved, but this situation is different. In this case, they haven't been expecting us to get in touch, so thanking them for their patience doesn't make sense. And in fact, we want them to respond to our sorry, either in their heads or literally with, "Oh, that's okay." The "things got a little busy" signals you haven't just been sitting by the phone waiting for their call. In fact, you're hot property that others see value in working with. If you don't feel comfortable with this, that's fine. After all, saying "things got a little busy" could infer you don't have the bandwidth to multitask. So instead of variant like "I've been dealing with an unusual range of projects" or something similar could work. Sentence 2, "I'm still keen to help your team XYZ if you're still interested." This is signalling your commitment and enthusiasm for the work you've been discussing and is your chance to restate its value. Posing it as a question invites them to reflect on their level of interest, noting that interest usually doesn't disappear, motivation does. Most people will therefore still be interested, but just not necessarily able to act on their interest. Sentence 3, "Let me know where things sit from your end." This invites them to give you a clear picture of where things stand. Sentence 4, "We can reconvene and I'll take others through what we've discussed, if that helps." We're finishing with an offer to lighten their load here by saying you can help them with their stakeholders. So those are 4 follow-up scenarios and tips on how to manage each. As an extra bonus, let's wrap things up with my 3 do's and don'ts when it comes to following up. Number 1, don't say following up because it risks making them feel that they've been neglectful. They may have, but it doesn't advance our cause to make them feel bad about it. Instead, do say, "I'm interested in any feedback you have on what we've shared." Number 2, don't say, "as per my previous message." This will embarrass them and cause them to get defensive. Instead, we need to let them save face. Do say, "following on from our last discussion," or, if you must, "my last message might have slipped through." And while I'd love to share with you the 3rd and final do's and don'ts when it comes to following up, that is only for paying members of my Just Do This program. Just Do This is my small business program. I show you exactly how to use behavioural science to improve your small business results. You can find out more at briwilliams.com.